beer festival, shall we? First, there's a picture I posted on our Facebook site where, you know what, we'll get into that later. So I did go to the Niagara Craft Beer Festival. I was going to bring one of the viewers with me. None of you seemed to want to go, so I brought Average Joe and Average Dad with me. We got there at like 4:50. It was supposed to open at 5. We got up to the lineup. Nobody knew where the will call tickets were going to be. They were over here, then they were over there, then they were over here, then they were back over there. We got our bracelets for the will call. Security and everything else wasn't set up till about 5:30, so we didn't get into the park until about 5:30 when it was supposed to open at 5. That was our first problem. Was you had all day to set it up. Organization is a key to this stuff. I know that it's a strenuous time. I did a festival myself, so I know it's a strenuous time. But this was the second festival done by these people. It should have been a little more organized. But that's really the only drawback, really, when you think about it. Actually, there was two drawbacks, and I understand why the second one was there, but there was two drawbacks to this festival. So the first drawback is the organization at the beginning. Once you got into the park, though, and like if you had shown up at 6, that didn't matter. Everything was set up. It was for the people that were there at the very beginning, and I mean everybody that was there at the very beginning wasn't happy with the way it was set up, with the way everything just kept changing and nobody knew what was going on. That's fine. That's going to happen every once in a while. But once you got into the park, that was over. Everything was different inside. Drinking water. If you go to the Toronto Festival Beer, at least for the 3 or 4 years I was there, I haven't been there this year, so I don't know how they did it this year. But they would have setups for you to get drinking water. My festival, we had setups for you to get drinking water. Forest City Beer Festival in London, setups to get drinking water. Every beer festival I've been to has had free drinking water. This one you had to buy it. It wasn't that bad of a price. What was it? $3 each or two for five. Yes, a little pricey, but not bad when you consider things like a an arena or something. So the water situation was a little sad because you would go through a lot of money buying water if you were properly hydrating yourself between each sample. Um, but again, the prices compared to most venues were actually really nice. The only thing other than the organization that I had a problem with was the tokens. Now you had to buy the tokens. They were $1 tokens each. It took two tokens to get your drinks, and then the food trucks and everything actually took tokens too. There were supposed to be no sales that weren't done with tokens. And the reason that's a problem is now I have to hand out 15 tokens for food from a food truck because a food truck isn't cheap. A food truck isn't cheap, and whether or not they got to keep every cent of all those tokens or not, I'm curious on as well because I don't think those food trucks are normally $15 for what they were offering. Um, But your drinks, you would have to hand two tokens out for each drink. Now, there were a few of them that were breaking the rules, because the rule is two tokens a drink. Some of them were taking one token and giving you half pours. Only thing with that, I love the token idea. It's easier to count at the end of the time, and you know nobody's cheating you. I just wish they would have been $2 tokens, just $2 on their own, so you have less tokens to carry. I don't have to carry around 40 tokens to get 20 samples. I have 20 tokens to get 20 samples, and that's just a personal thing. I mean, everybody's going to be different on it. But yeah, other than those two grapes, the festival was great. The venue was fine. Montebello Park is a big place. It had a lot of room. Actually, there is a third gripe, and this is my question to you guys. When you're at a beer festival, do you really like live bands being at the beer festival, or do you want the beer festival to be more about the beer, the food, and the community? Because, um, for all intents and purposes, every beer festival I've been at that's had the live band has just been too loud. You can't we were doing interviews, and by the end of the night, you couldn't even hear. Joe would be standing 3 feet away from us, and he couldn't hear what we were saying. Now the cameras picked it up because we were on a microphone, but Joe couldn't hear anything we were saying from 3 feet away. I'm sorry, it gets too loud when you do these things. These bandshell park or any other type of park, any park you do a beer festival at that has a live band, you just can't hear a thing. Me personally, I would rather have no band if it's going to take away the ability to chat with people. But the venue was great. The breweries, there wasn't many breweries that brought anything that I really cared all that much about, but the breweries were still a beautiful selection of breweries, beautiful selection of things other than beer. There was three uh, three cideries. There was a wine vendor. There was a good deal of different restaurants, a couple food trucks. There was a great selection there. The bands weren't bad bands, even though I didn't enjoy them, and I didn't enjoy them being on because you couldn't hear things. The lineup started getting crazy when USS came on, which is what you'd expect. I mean, when the headlining bands come on, that's when so many people are there. Um, so overall, a good experience. Lots of porta potties. There was like 50 of them, which they had to have because of the amount of people they thought were going to be there. But when while we were there, it wasn't actually all that busy, so it was good. Um, some picnic tables. I wish they had more seating areas, but again, that's just me. Yeah, good overall experience. For their second time doing it, there should have been a little more organization at the beginning, in my opinion, and I wish that we had had uh, some more offerings from some of these breweries. I know why they're not there, but I just kind of wish there had been more special offerings. But that again is my thing. So yeah, if you were at the Niagara Craft Beer Festival, what did you think? Tell me what you liked and disliked about. Well, that was already the questions, but tell me what you wish beer festivals would stop doing and what you wish beer festivals would start doing. What price is too much to pay for a beer festival? I mean, I don't ever want to charge more than $20 for entrance to my beer festivals because I want my beer festivals to be about the beer, not about the awesome bands you're going to see. Toronto Festival of Beer, for instance, $50 to get in? No, thank you. This one was what? $30, $35, and then $10 or something like that was their entrance fees. And the $10 is great, but the other two I'm not a big big fan of. Um, Plastic glassware too. You got a plastic cup. I've gotten a plastic cup once from Toronto, and I've gotten glass every other time until this time. I understand why you're doing plastic. It's a lot safer. You don't have as big a cleanup problem, but it's not as classy. I mean, I'll probably end up having to do plastic if I'm doing an outdoor festival too, because it's hard to clean broken glass out of a lawn. It really is hard to clean broken glass out of a lawn. So I'll probably have to go plastic myself. And I think that's actually where it's going to be. I mean, I could go glass if I get the heavier, thicker, heavy duty glass, but I think it's probably going to end up going to plastic just for that reason. But do you care if it's plastic? Do you hate getting a plastic glass, or are you okay with it? Yeah. Thank you guys. Bye.